Welcome to Night Shadows. I'm Stuart Best, where the paranormal is normal, where that which you thought you knew, you didn't, and where the future can be known if you know exactly where to look.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and listening. We have a short, I guess you could call it a flash update with Larry. Hi, Larry. How you doing?
Hey, Stuart. Thanks for having me.
Why don't we start with what's going on over there? This thing is headed for war, one way or the other. Isaiah 17, Daniel 8, which I think probably leads to Ezekiel 38, 39. But the Russians have more or less put Israel in a box. Israel is more or less giving the finger to the Russians. And where does this thing begin? Now, they're bringing in this jamming equipment that you were talking about before the show. What is all of this? Is this the same stuff that they use to cripple two of our big naval vessels?
Well, we don't know if that's what crippled our naval vessels because nobody's ever told us or even mentioned what maybe it was. But we do know there seem to be two sets of operational warfare, electronic warfare units in Syria from Russia, and the newest one that they just brought in is the most dangerous. So we know the others, Syria has been given the S-300 air defense systems, and as a matter of fact, once that happened, Israeli General Amos Yadlin warned, he said that if Russia hands over to Syria the S-300 air defense system, Israel will have no choice but to destroy it in spite of a risk of a confrontation with Russia. And then also, too, another threat came out of Israel. It says Israel just warned Russia it will destroy Himenen Air Base if Israeli planes are attacked by the S-300s or Russians. And we know that when they brought that in, Hal Turner had also posted some information that Debka file backed up that they had brought in electronic warfare units to jam communications. However, and I'd like your opinion on this one because this is very dangerous. This is a top headline. It's hot right off the press on Debka file out of Israel. Russia's first Proshuka 4 electronic warfare unit lands in Syria and can jam even spy satellites and enemy radar. Russian unit was unloaded at Russia's Himenen Air Base near Latakia. Its electronic warfare unit can neutralize low Earth orbit satellites. So, Stuart, this is extremely dangerous. And the bad part is the only vulnerable time the Syrians and the Iranians and the Russians will have is in the next couple of weeks or 3 weeks to where they're setting this equipment up. Once this is all set up, the total balance changes. And by the way, and then I'll give it back to you. There was an Israeli security meeting today in Israel, and they actually have now given the orders to the Israeli Defense Forces to attack the Iranians and the Russians if they fight back anyway. So, the air attacks are going on anyway, and this is a real confrontation. And by the way, I was wondering your opinion on this. As soon as that security meeting was over, Benjamin Netanyahu and his Mossad chief, Yossi Cohen, flew to the U.S. to meet with Trump in person.
Well, if it takes 2 to 3 weeks, this means they've got to really be monitoring. I don't see how Israel can allow the equipment to be set up, which means they're going to have to attack within the next week or so. I mean, why would you allow the Russians to get all that set up? because the longer they wait, the more damage to Israel that can be done. So it would seem to me that if the information is valid, they're going to have to attack. So we should see some really big fireworks here in the near future. And the other thing is that I see is the United States getting involved in this, which is why I'm sure that Cohen and Bibi are on their way, if they're not at New York already, talking with Trump to find out whether they can count on his support or not. So this almost sounds like deep state operating through various channels is forcing Israel into this war, and that probably forces the United States into this war. Now, the one escape they might have is Isaiah chapter 17. I mean, the world would be shocked if Israel were to take out Damascus with a nuclear weapon of some sort. And it does sound like it's a nuclear weapon because it totally devastates. And you may remember that they posted a picture of Assad's palace. Israel did, which is kind of a threat. You keep it up, we'll just take you out. So, what do you think? I mean, when you look at all of the stuff that's really going on over there, and a lot of it is not even being, how do I say, given to us, but from what we're finding out, the leaks and whatnot on it don't sound very good to me. How about you? I mean, I think this is, world news, breaking news, urgent. Israel Security Cabinet orders IDF, to what you said, to continue attacking Iranian targets inside Syria. Well, if this is basically a Russian base where they're going to set up this system, and I guess it'll be in a few other areas, don't they have to attack Russian troops?
Well, Stuart, the thing is, one of the IDF generals has already indicated that they would destroy at Himmeln Air Base. They would completely take everything out there. And now, you saw the photographs the other day. You know, I sent you a copy of it, where Russia was landing these massive cargo planes. And that was on that. Yeah, that was on that same base, and I mean, they were lined up. I mean, you couldn't believe hardly how they lined up. But what's interesting is the fact that, it appears that the Israelis, they're in a box. They have no choice but to fight because the Iranians are bringing in more, and once this radar and these S-300s are up, as Lieberman, Israel's defense minister, he said they can literally fire on our airplanes as they leave the ground in Israel. So they don't have a choice. But now, I was mentioning those planes that were landing. Some of the intelligence that came in, now you didn't read it. I saw it, though. Some of the intelligence claims that the Russians had brought in tactical nukes because they already knew, according to the report, that they were going to be in a nuclear confrontation with Israel, the Russians and Israel, and they were already planning on it. It's supposedly going to be limited, maybe not. But now here's what's interesting. I'd like your opinion here. The big problem in this whole region is Iran. And yes. Iran simply just comes on more and more and more. And matter of fact, I don't know if you saw the post today, but actually today the Iranians put out a new video claiming that they are going to attack the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. So there you are. I mean, the threat's there. Now, what's interesting, too, and this is what I would really like your comment on, today John Bolton stood in the UN and warned Iran that there would be hell to pay if Iranian aggression continues in the Middle East, and he says, he added a note, we will come after you. And the UN laughed. They said that the UN laughed at Trump and Bolton. But you got to remember, Stuart, you got to remember that out there since Trump took office, Obama and John Kerry have been moving around in the background telling all these people, do not listen to Trump. Don't take him seriously. He'll be gone shortly. And as a matter of fact, today it was said that Europe was going to stand with Iran on that nuclear deal. They were not going to stand with Trump. So there you are. Thank you, Obama, and thank you, John Kerry, but America may suffer the consequences.
Yeah. Well, of course, deep state, communist coup. This Kavanaugh thing is nothing but the communist coup. It's just part of it. And we're going into this thing, and there's no way that America can stay out of that war if this thing develops as we think it might. But I'm really looking at Isaiah chapter 17. That to me looks like the beginning of the whole thing. And then not Daniel chapter 8 would be, of course, Iran suddenly and without any warning attacking everybody in a last-ditch effort, which is very feasible right now. So anyway, folks, I guess what I would say is we can wake up any time or in the middle of the day or wherever you may hear the war is on, and it's going to accelerate when it comes. We are at the cusp, I think. What do you think, Larry? I just think we're at the cusp. Then we got, this huge volcano, Katla, on Iceland that they say now may erupt. And it would be horrific, not only for Europe, but the dust comes all around the world. What do you think before we shut down?
Absolutely, Stuart. Yeah, absolutely. It's so ironic. I mean, we've got this massive volcano, which is a super volcano really there in Iceland, Katla, that they are afraid now may erupt and change a lot of things in the world. And at the same time, we've got this stuff going on, But American media, what have we got in American media telling the people what's going on around the world? We've got Stormy Daniels and the creepy porn lawyer and a bunch of stupidity in Washington, D.C.
I can't believe what's going on. It has to be deliberate. I can't imagine people that stupid, but maybe they are. There's really something going on here. But, folks, this is really a heads up, and we'll keep you posted as this thing develops. So visit Night Shadows Radio, visit Larry's site, and Lightgate Blogger, and we'll keep you posted if we're going to do another show. It's getting harder and harder to notify people. We're being shut down in a lot of different areas. It's just getting more and more glitches, let's put it that way. Larry, any last word?
Well, keep that seatbelt buckled and have your supplies ready at home.
Yeah, more than ever, because we could suffer an EMP attack anytime. They've got this well planned out, and don't forget an economic collapse could be in the offering as well. I think we're going to get hit from a number of different sides, because when the Lord decides he's going to punish somebody, he's usually pretty good at it, and we're that nation that he's got in the crosshairs right now. So anyway, thanks a lot, Larry, for coming on, and we'll do one tomorrow night if we can figure it out. And anyway, good night, take it easy, a heads up, and I hope you've prepared. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you again.